I'm on. Welcome, AssemblyTV Studio Compo, Compo Studio, for the Extreme Graphics Competition. I'm Aki, or Hugo, depends what you want to call me. And the Extreme Graphics Competition, in my mind, is pictures of raptors on rollerblades kick-flipping over the Statue of Liberty that's on fire, but at Assembly that's something different, and we're going to talk about it with our two guests, which are Evil Paul from 8-Bit, welcome, hello. And my dad, Sir Garbershuk. Thank you for joining.
I'm Mr. Vander Heiden.
Yes, he's my father, and I'm very happy he's here. So let's talk about the Extreme Graphics Competition and what it should be and what it was and what you thought about it. So
it was shonky, frankly.
You found it shonky?
It was shonky.
Why exactly did you find it shonky?
It was so confusing.
It was confusing.
So what were the actual limitations? It was, if it was a new school entry, it was 4K. If it was an old school entry, it was 40K.
It was 40K.
And it was a mixed competition of those two formats.
And it seemed that an old school picture is basically a picture of any machine older than 10 years.
Yeah.
Or
an old version of Photoshop.
Yeah, or an old version of Photoshop. What?
So I don't know.
I don't understand the old version. What old version of Photoshop? Does that mean like one from last year, or does it mean like seriously? This is an old version of Photoshop. It ran on an old machine from like 10 years ago.
And the picture was smaller than 40 kilobytes. So
yeah.
Fit it in.
It's
so confusing. But then quality of graphics. Any?
Well, it's hard to say.
Comments?
Yeah.
Because I mean, a 4K executable graphic entry is a different skill set than a hand-drawn picture.
Fair enough.
Okay, I'll just mention the 4K entry that won the Solskogen party 2 weeks ago is by a group out of Denmark by the name of Iris. And it is a 4K executable, and it could have competed in this competition and won because it contains boobs.
Fair enough.
And you know,
everybody likes boobs.
Everybody loves boobs, and you know, it was a 4K executable that had boobs, and it looked good. So, if that would have been up against the hand-drawn entries, then we could have had the same skill set. Okay, here are artistic impressions of natural things like boobs. Or
but you felt it was out of place to have free-drawn graphics in what should be an executable.
Well, the executable the executable entries that were there are of mathematical or three-dimensional things that are well rendered, well lit, and it's.
You want to see one of them?
It would be nice. Yes, this is hand drawn, and it's a big.
No, this is. I think this is generated.
This is executable. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
This looks generated.
Is it generated?
It's a 3D graphic.
It looks it.
Well,
I guess this is a generated graphic.
Okay, I don't mean to insult the creator of this, but I didn't realize this was executable. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. And then there was, of course, hand drawn.
Yeah, that one. The previous one.
Yeah,
that one is generated,
yep.
And you can tell it's generated because there are lights, and it's rendered, and it's a combination of math skills and lighting skills and code. This is a completely different skill set than a person taking a brush.
This one as
well. And yeah, and there's another one. That is obviously mathematical, and there's nothing wrong with creating a mathematical beauty, but it's a different thing, and I think it's a left brain, right brain thing. And we're trying to force them together and say, okay, which one's better? I like both areas.
So you think it's a bit of an unfair kind of competition?
Yeah, it's kind of like for most people, which of your children is your favorite? Well, hello, I love all my children. Or you know, people come out, which party is your favorite? Every party has ruled in many ways. You know, you can't take, or I cannot equate this competition to something that I can judge fairly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree.
Yeah, same thing. So it's difficult to.
I love how his answers are short, and I go on for 45 minutes.
I'm just summarising.
Yes.
You're right.
Bounce it up and down. But the other entries are some things that stood out that you thought was nice, even though it might not have been in the right competition for your feeling.
It's interesting to talk about the different skill sets. The one I like was number 9. Can you show number 9?
Yes, okay. That should be.
I quite like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good picture, and especially, I mean, it's MSX.
It's from MSX, yeah.
The MSX has, as you mentioned when we were watching it, it has this really intense, fully saturated palette.
A bit shonky palette, you might actually
Yes.
call
Oh,
it.
it's not shonky.
Okay.
I think it's nice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I think if you get to choose colors, you have a machine, you have like 6 colors to use. I want that bright purple is a good color to have, and very bright green, and in combination with red.
Yeah.
And then you make something out of it. I must say this, I like MSX graphics.
You're never going to get a flesh tone, are you? But they don't care.
Oh no, it's not a flesh
pulled
tone.
it off.
I mean,
That's it, yeah.
Isn't that a little girl in the
Yeah, it
picture?
is, it is.
Okay. But that's so it's like,
And it's an MSX picture. You have to ask.
well, she's bright red, so
the thing in the corner is a lion, actually.
yeah. I mean, she's just really. I mean, that is well drawn.
That's a nice picture.
And the
I
fact
agree.
that it has such a intense palette makes it a different challenge.
Yeah. I had the same with the C64 graphic as well.
Yeah, there were several. Well, the one C64 graphic that is the picture of the dude's mouth. Oh, well, that one too. Yeah,
And they both have it.
that one there. Okay, that one is high res. I believe this is Amiga C64 high res, which is limited to 2 colors in an 8x8 pixel square. And that
AKA
is
really tough to draw in.
It is. It's really tough to draw in, and that's really well put together.
Yeah.
Now, can I compare this to, you know, a rendered?
So I put it next to this one.
Yeah. Can I put?
We're
No.
gonna put them side by side. Yeah,
No.
that's different.
They're just not. It's just 2 really cool looking things.
It's confusing to have these things in the same competition and to judge them, because there's more like free drawn graphics as well, and there's like, it's a different, and on a PC I pixeled this, and that's like one of the pixel graphics.
When did this happen? Last year did we have 2 separate categories? Did they merge this year for the first time?
It was my first time at Assembly. I'm not sure.
I'll just say that they did it 2 years ago and be wrong.
I think they might have done it a year or 2 ago.
Okay,
Yeah,
maybe they did it last year. I mean, and that's a. Is this the one that was done by the? No, this is not the one with the old Photoshop.
No, this is
No.
the T20 240 picture on PC, the VGA picture.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, well, okay, it's a 256 color palette, and it's well, kind of reminds me of various places in Helsinki. Actually, wait a minute, hold on.
It's a nice picture.
Is that okay? I'm obviously shouldn't ask this question since I actually live here now, but I mean, are those girls actually holding up the same implements as the?
Yes, they are.
Okay, as the statue in Helsinki. So maybe that is actually a picture of Helsinki.
Somebody's dream,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, let's talk about another picture because that one. I mean, that's a nice. That is a nice picture.
Which
but I
one
think
do you want to see?
all of them.
Okay,
I'll
we'll
just
show
flip
them.
through all
One
of
by
them.
one.
We can talk about all of them nicely. That's a great picture. It's rendered. That's a
let's
great
talk
picture.
about
It's
this one.
oversaturated. That's a
this
great
one.
picture. It's in 4 colors. That one's confusing. That woman has like. Actually, that looks better here than it did looking at it halfway across
They
the
do,
arena.
don't they? I think all of them do.
But this is
Yeah.
hard to judge, as you said, because it's a freehand picture.
Well,
I guess
are those-
drawn on a computer then, but
Are those extra faces in the back or not?
no, they're just swirlies, I guess.
Okay. Well, I thought I saw a face there. That's kind of the when you
But-
see it, you'll
and
shit
then this
bricks.
one, this is, I guess, a familiar side of the assembly.
That's the one that confused me. What does old Photoshop? I mean, I could see this if it was
This was
D-Paint.
made in the old Photoshop.
But does old Photoshop mean D-Paint or what?
Maybe he made it actually like in an old Photoshop, that he found an abandoned Photoshop somewhere and he wasn't there with his like Amiga pixel.
That could have been. That
Could be. So and then
is he in a straitjacket?
no, he's
he's
covered
wrapped
in
up with
ribbon
tape.
because he's not allowed to sleep. There's a flashlight in his face. You have to,
Oh.
it's called sleeping area. So,
Okay.
and then we have this was the rendered one as well.
That's also
With
rendered.
Oreos, and they look delicious. The white ones are amazing.
Can you get white Oreos?
Yeah, you have to cover it in white chocolate. They're really good.
Can you?
Yeah, they're really good.
I
Like a
haven't
normal
played
Oreo
them.
with white chocolate around it.
I don't think we can buy Oreos here in Finland.
Oh, it's
I have not
fantastic.
seen them.
I'll
since
send
they've
them
come
to
here.
you. They're
Prohibited
fantastic.
goods.
This was the other C64 picture.
Yeah.
I like this.
And if I'm not, well, maybe this wasn't high res. Does it?
I'm not sure. Does it say?
What does it say?
No, it doesn't say.
Well, if this is high res, then that's again the same 2 colors in an 8x8 thing, which it actually. Looking at that, that is very possible that they could, that they managed to pull that off. But again, that's really well.
That's well placed. And I like it's called selfish shellfish, and I wonder what it relates to in the picture. The man might puke at any second because the shellfish were very selfish. I don't know.
You're saying this is a picture about food poisoning?
It could be.
Could be.
He doesn't look happy, so it's.
By the way, people ringing me on my phone, I'm not going to answer.
This is another freehand picture.
Yes.
Which
And
looks.
wasn't that the EGA one?
No. That's this. This is the EGA one.
Okay, that's the EGA one. Okay, yes. Which is
Interesting.
It's
yeah.
interesting. It's and 16 colors is this is.
16
challenge.
colors. Yeah, it's a challenge. You know, the shading on it is isn't bad for a 16 color thing. But I
Nice.
mean, you can take a 16 color shading and you can compare that to the 2 colors per 8-bit pixel thing on the C64, and you end up with, okay, well, if I were to compare these two, then the skill set of this person, I'd like to see them continue to work on stuff to get to the point of the people who were pixeling the C64 things.
Fair enough. Again, and this is the first one we already saw. So.
Yes, and I guess that's rendered, and it's not a bad render.
So okay.
I just didn't realize it
but
was.
we can conclude this by basically saying it was a confusing competition,
It was.
and it's going to be really hard to judge as well.
Absolutely. I have no idea who I would place first, second, last, or even if, you know,
All right.
congratulations to the winner. I don't know who you are.
So, okay, so that basically wraps it up for us for the extreme graphics competition, a confusing competition for some, for all actually. But yes, and stay tuned for more coming up later. Thank you very much.